Hello, I am Yumemizuki Mizuki, a clinical psychologist. If something's troubling you, feel free to talk it out with me. I can banish even the darkest of nightmares from your mind without leaving a single trace. Oh, you don't believe me? Well then, if you have a moment to spare, why don't you stop by my office? That dream last night tasted wonderful. Thank you for sharing it with me. Oh, still need to go through last quarter's financial report. What a headache. If you ever feel down, just drop everything and go out for some fresh air. When the weather is dark and gloomy, our emotions often respond in kind. I wonder if the almighty Shogun is having a bad day. Sunshine isn't always a good thing. If it's too bright, the light can get into your eyes and make you dizzy. Now that the storm clouds have been swept away, it's time to do the same with our troubles. The wind is just right. I feel refreshed and ready to go. Feel that? I opened the window to let in some fresh air. The crisp morning air, the rising sun, the cool breeze. My mood feels lighter already. A fine morning indeed. A quick nap in the middle of the day can give you an energy boost, but I do mean quick. Sleeping too long will make you more tired. Need me to wake you up in a bit? It's getting late. Try to go to bed at a reasonable hour, okay? If you stay up late dancing, reading novels, or playing games, the quality of your sleep will really suffer. Oh, off to bed? Here, drink this cup of milk before you go. I added some herbs to help you sleep. Good night, and sweet dreams. Natlan's hot springs are in an open area close to the sea, which means you can chat with a whole host of people while enjoying the cool breeze off the water. Now, if I tried the same thing in Inazuma, people would probably say, seeing someone you know at the bathhouse is awkward enough, but conversing with a complete stranger? That's inconceivable. So you see, not all hot springs are created equal. Have you heard of Isa Bathhouse? It's an indoor hot spring. When I first became a shareholder, I had a vision for a new kind of clinical practice. Having patients soak in medicinal baths to relax the mind and body before treatment. But, well, most of the time, the warm water put people to sleep before I could even get to the clinical part. After waking up, they would praise my methods and call me a miracle worker. Even though I didn't even do anything. It just goes to show what rest can do. A simple good night's sleep can solve a lot of problems, actually. And still, people insist on pushing themselves to the breaking point. I just wish people would listen when their body tells them to rest. I've been to 5 out of the 7 nations in Teyvat. I suppose that makes me something of a traveler myself. Even though I live in Inazuma, I often have business in Natlan. So, as fellow travelers, we should stick together. There's a rule among the Yumeku Ibaku. We cannot consume a good dream without the owner's permission. Sweet dreams are precious treasures, and their absence can trigger a sense of loss and emptiness. But you seem to be an exception. Your dreams are like a bottomless treasure trove. I've been in this line of work for centuries, but I've never met anyone as bright in their dreams as you. Visions are said to be proof of the recognition of the gods, a miracle made manifest. And based on what I've heard, many people without a vision are waiting on the same miracle to happen to them. But dreaming of something unobtainable often means setting yourself up for greater disappointment, especially when you wake up and reality sets in. Sometimes in the pursuit of a mirage, we inadvertently turn reality into a nightmare from which we must escape. I can only hope that doesn't happen to them. Ya-chan and Tei-chan are more than companions. They're a part of me, formed from my yokai powers. They represent my wisdom and spirit, respectively, and you can see them as manifestations of my rationality and empathy. They help me administer treatment on occasion, and are very capable in combat, too. I left for Inazuma the day before the attack on the people of the springs. Mualani wrote me a letter and told me what happened. It would seem you have quite the talent for saving the day. Now that I think about it, based on what I've heard from Miko, that would be the second time I've missed you right when we could have crossed paths. But now I can finally count the legendary traveler among my acquaintances. Hundreds of years ago, we were neighbors. Miko was a lot more serious about her pursuits back then. But still, the innocence of youth permeated everything. I miss those days sometimes. Miko had just learned to transform into a human, and life was so simple. Every day she would come find me and let me taste her dreams. Notes of sakura blossom, paper, ink, tricolored dango, and fried tofu. That's what I remember. She would beg me to transform into a human with her, and drag me into town to find things that matched the flavors of her dreams. If someone caught us, we would immediately transform back into our original forms and make a break for it. Miko ran so fast, she would leave me in the dust half the time. Now, Miko is the Guji of the Grand Narukami Shrine. After growing up, I never tried one of her dreams again. Who knows if any of the flavors are the same as back then. Consuming dreams without permission is the ultimate taboo for my kind. Even if she came to me and asked after so long, I think I would refuse. We're business rivals now, and I intend to keep up with her this time. I worked up the courage to invite the almighty Shogun to the bathhouse after the Mikawa Flower Festival. As she settled into the pool, a strand of her hair drifted into the water. I thought about reaching out to fix it, but I was worried it would be too casual a gesture for such a noble figure. Of course, I doubt Miko would even hesitate. It's an unfortunate reminder that I still have a long way to go as a yokai. The divine priestess of Watatsumi Island is a dignified and well-mannered lady. Speaking with her always lifts my spirits. If I open a new branch of Isa Bathhouse on Watatsumi Island, or some other kind of business, I hope I have more chances to work with her. Oh, you mean the Queen of the Summer Festival? Yes, she is quite memorable. Every once in a while, I perform a mental health survey to see if there are areas around Inazuma where people are more likely to need treatment. It turns out, those who live near Miss Yoimiya need very little, and I doubt that's a coincidence. It's hard to be anything but positive with such a bright and cheerful person around. Ah, Miss Sayaka. She was still a little girl when I left Inazuma. But even then, she had already started studying flower arranging and the art of the sword. Her brother once enlisted my services in secret, hoping to alleviate some of her anxieties. What I remember of her dream was the smell of old timber and heavy rain, like a lone wooden pavilion on the verge of collapse amid a storm. I did my best to treat her, until she finally fell into a peaceful slumber. Many years have passed since then. I hope she's found people to lean on, so she doesn't have to weather that storm alone. She often enlists my services to help the members of the Tenryo Commission. It's not uncommon to see doubt and fear in their minds, but her mindscape is always cold, hard metal. No rain, no sun. Like a safe of pure jade steel, unflinching and unpenetrable. I have a lot of respect for her because of that. Although, I can only imagine what resilience it took to get to that point. She's quite the carefree little Mujina. Her only trouble, of course, being the desire to grow taller. I'm sure her dreams are exceedingly sweet. I'd love to invite her to come work at the bathhouse, but she's always avoiding me. Perhaps she can see through my intentions. The Pyro Archon? How should I put it? Lady Mawika is the kind of person who shines so bright, just laying eyes on her is enough to warrant sunglasses. Like the actual sun, she has a way of burning away haze and illuminating darkness, even with a simple handshake. Have I ever tasted one of her dreams? No. I wouldn't dare. She let me try once, but stepping into her dream was like jumping into a volcano or choking on ash. All I could do was cough. Perhaps my yokai powers simply aren't strong enough yet. Ah, Mualani. She is the friendliest person I've ever met. I lived with the people of the Springs during my time in Natlan, and I never could have opened up my shop there without her help. She dragged me to the speaker's chamber, and just like that, I was face to face with the Pyro Archon, with no warning at all, scared out of my mind. Her personality is like a wave, sometimes cresting high above the water, gliding deep beneath the surface, or even crashing straight against the shore. It's hard to keep up. Oh, her mental state? I don't think you need to worry. She's in a very good spot. If anything, I should go to her for therapy. I've visited Sumeru before. Within the borders of her authority, it's impossible for me to make contact with anyone's dreams, much less affect or consume them. Her presence isn't oppressive, however. What I sensed felt more like a solemn promise between a god and her people. My impression is that she must be a very kind-hearted god. Dream eating is an ability unique to my kind. We can consume good and bad dreams alike, although the two are very different in terms of flavor. For a long time, it was nothing more than a form of sustenance, but as I got older, I realized this power had greater potential, helping humans overcome and process their troubles. In truth, the Yumekui Baku are not a particularly formidable kind of yokai. When the dark calamity struck Inazuma, all we could do was run and hide. Our neighbor, the Kitsune Saigu, sacrificed herself in that disaster. I was devastated, but helpless to stop it. It was seeing all that loss and despair that inspired me to go into this vocation. I decided to study abroad, and through my travels in Liyue, Sumeru, and Natlan, I was able to integrate my abilities with human medicine, and thus my current practice was born. Even though I've been away from Inazuma for the past couple of years, the hot spring business has been thriving. In the meantime, I've worked hard to establish a practice that integrates what I've learned throughout my travels. Telling people I'm one of Isa Bathhouse's major shareholders opens a lot of doors, which is one of the main reasons I've been able to keep my practice going, even despite all the challenges. To me, the greatest challenge is processing the negative emotions that come with consuming a nightmare. I only consume a patient's nightmare if all other treatment methods fail. At that point, the nightmares are usually highly toxic and volatile to consume. When that happens, I like to find a secluded place to digest those emotions. It's not something I want other people to see. But as a clinical psychologist, Helping patients overcome their nightmares is my duty. And, well, to me, it's what it means to be a Baku. I've always wondered about the purpose of our power. Why was it given to us? What can we do with it? If we think of dreams only as a form of sustenance, then what makes us different from the mindless insects that spend their days gnawing away at lavender melons? Psychology gave me a purpose and a calling, banishing nightmares from Inazuma and the world as a whole. I used to think I would spend my whole life facing this alone, until I met you. Someone who can turn the world on its head, who can bend the will of the gods themselves. Someone who's willing to accept my weaknesses, with no shortage of dreams to share. Perhaps, in a way, I've become your patient as well. Listening to cheerful and uplifting music is a great way to relax. Back when I lived in Natlan, I used to visit Kalamche Plaza all the time. Oh, the ukulele music was so beautiful. Actually, I heard you're something of a musician yourself. Could you play for me sometime? Sometimes, nightmares surpass what I can withstand and act almost like a lethal poison. An example would be the Inazuman soldiers who fought during the Dark Calamity, or the Natlanese warriors who drove back the abyss in the Night Kingdom. Despair and fear carved so deeply into their subconscious, consuming their nightmares was like trying to swallow a knife. One time, I consumed the nightmare of a warrior who had just returned from the Night Warden Wars, and I passed out for several days. Oh, my favorite food? The best dream you've ever had, of course. Just kidding. I don't go around feasting on people's sweet memories. Now, sweet treats, on the other hand, not a bad pick-me-up, especially after a difficult session. I don't like meals that are just thrown together, like a dry loaf of bread, a couple of carrots, some cabbage, and a cold piece of ham. We are what we eat, and that's especially true when it comes to our mood. If you muddle through every meal, how are you supposed to maintain a healthy state of mind? We all need to be kinder to ourselves, and that starts with what we eat. Wow, I've never had a dish like this before, not even in my dreams. This very well could be a recipe for a perfect night's sleep. Quite a mellow taste, like slipping into a dream. Thank you. It's lovely. Ugh. Did some terrible dream affect your sleep last night? That would explain why your sense of taste is so off. The food can wait until later. Our therapy session must start now. Today is a very special day for the both of us. Meeting you has given me the chance to witness a wondrous world of endless dreams. So, why don't we celebrate this occasion with a dreamscape for just the two of us? Of course, we'll need to build it from the ground up. So, tell me what you'd like to see. I feel myself getting stronger, both in body and mind. I'm ready to face even more powerful nightmares. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart. With your help, I'm confident I can handle any case that comes my way. Your encouragement allowed me to look within and see my weaknesses for what they are. You've helped a psychologist down her own path to healing, and that's not something many people can say. Negative emotions are part of who we are. Anxiety, agitation, and fear are what result when we shy away from facing them head-on. The important thing is finding the balance between recognizing those emotions and being overwhelmed by them. You helped me find that balance, and now it's cemented in my head. No matter how toxic or poisonous the nightmare, I have nothing to fear.